All right. Welcome to SEC After Dark. I'm here with Uga, and I'm here with Jake, and I'm here with Jeb. And we're having a good time. The reason Uga's there, by the way, just full disclosure, Corey's just going to run a little bit late. He might pop up in the middle of this, but until he does, Uga's going to be right there to greet everybody. We're going to have a big show tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about Matt Corral and his regrets. It reminds me of the We Are the Millers. It's like no regrets, not even one letter.
Yes, regrets.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about that. We have the top 5. Once Corey gets here, the top 5 SEC running backs. We'll do like we did last week with quarterbacks and kind of work on a consensus list. And then tomorrow we will release that list as a top 5 on the Locked On Ole Miss channel and on the Bleav In Georgia Dawgs channel. Of course, Jeb could do it as well if he wanted to, but I don't know if he will, and Jake could as well. Who knows? Anyway, before we get started, I do want to tell you, betonline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs for all of your favorite sports and events at the #1 source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. That's kind of terrible that MLS is not on there, but we'll just say Major League Soccer. And BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your wagering information, including live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, guys, how y'all doing today?
Well, pretty good, actually. It's been a long day, but happy to be here now.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, it's been a long, hot day.
Last week we had media days that we could talk about and do whatever we needed to do. And this week, we were like, oh, there's nothing we're going to be able to talk about. And then Matt Corral decided he was going to do an interview, and we had something to talk about all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now, before we get started and everybody listens, whatever, the whole headline and everything, it's all garbage. Matt Corral's not saying that. But I will say this. Matt Corral was close enough to where what he said could be construed as that. He wasn't trying to say that he regretted going to Ole Miss. But that became the headline because what he was trying to talk about was whenever he was being recruited out of high school, it might have been a better situation if he went to some place that was already had an established quarterback that he had to work hard for and compete for. He was basically wanting to say to everybody that he's all in. He was kind of basically virtue signaling that. And his poor communication, you might want to say, turned into what we had to where this headline got wrote. And Ole Miss is going to have to deal with this for 6 months because every school that Ole Miss is competing against has copied that tweet and got it to every one of the targets.
Well, okay, and the way I read it, kind of what you're saying there was he said, he could go to Ole Miss where he had a better chance of starting right away, or maybe he regretted not going somewhere where we would have had to fight for the position a little more, I guess, to help him grow as a quarterback. But it does make me real curious what your opinion is there because I didn't play, college football. I don't really know. It seems like going into a position where you have a better chance of starting is what most kids would be looking for.
Right.
But do you think a lot of them regret not going somewhere where they had to fight for it? I don't know. It seems to me like he made the choice that most kids would make nowadays, I would think.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. I think he was just telling Carolina what Carolina needed to hear, their fan base. Because the reality of the situation is 3 games into his first year starting, he lost the job. John Rice Plumlee became the dude the rest of that year. And they had to compete the next year to be a starter when Lane Kiffin got here, and Matt Corral ended up winning the job. So what he was saying needed to happen actually did happen. And that's the reason I think he was probably just virtue signaling, and he just wanted the...
Just trade for Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Is that the team that is? So, I mean, probably realizing he's not going to start this year. So that makes sense that maybe he's just telling them, hey, I don't mind fighting for the position. This is what I always should have been doing anyway. It makes me grow as a quarterback. So I guess I could see that. But I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's going to start this year anyway, unless Baker just is terrible.
It still was a terrible thing to say. It was bad because the only person that got hurt and the only one that's going to have to deal with it is Ole Miss. His poor communication rubbed off, and Ole Miss is going to have to deal with this for 6 months. And this is honestly the last signing day that's going to be meaningful, potentially ever.
Yeah,
I saw that. That part confuses me. You could just transfer anytime you want, anywhere you want. Is that pretty much where they are now?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And you're right. So, I mean, signing high school kids is almost worthless. Well, not worthless, but not very important.
There are going to be an extreme elite of an elite that gets signed to college. The rest is going to be college players that they cherry pick from other people's roster. And those lower level schools are going to sign those high school kids because nobody is going to want to invest the time to develop them because they can leave. So the sure thing would be the 3-year player that's already spent 2 years in a college program. So programs like Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, you're going to see them recruiting Toledo and Tulsa more than high school.
I was going to say, does Division II and some of the smaller schools become farm teams now?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, you think about it. If you can go out and get, like you said, a 2 or 3 year starter versus the high school kid at that position, you're going to go with the experience. So, and if you just say like Southern Miss has a defensive lineman who is like just one of the outstanding guys on that team, he's not really going to get a lot of recognition at Southern Miss. So he's going to look at bouncing to like an Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, someone like that, Ohio State, to get that recognition to possibly get drafted,
And
not to contradict what Matt Corral was saying, but I agree. If you're at a smaller school and you're doing really well, you don't you're doing that, or at least I would think a lot of that is you would be trying to get yourself recruited to another team where you get more recognition so you can get drafted higher. It really kind of makes sense, or get better in NIL money as well. So there's a lot of incentive to try and get away from the small teams, but to start there and do well.
The high school 3-star, which used to be a bedrock of all these signing classes, Ole Miss would sign 15 to 20 3-star players in a class. Yeah. But now those 3-stars are likely going to be going to FCS, lower G5. They might end up in the Sun Belt or Conference USA. And if they have a good year, they might go up to the higher G5, the American, something like that, or the Big 12. And then if they do well there, they have a chance to get to the SEC and the Big 10. It's going to be like the bottom is A-ball, the middle is AA, SEC and Big 10 is AAA, and the whole goal is to get to the NFL.
Yeah. And you think about it, if we had this about 20 years ago, you think, Joe Flacco, he was at Delaware. He could have made his name, at Delaware, then moved up to, a recognizable college program. So,
Yeah, it just it sounds terrible. It may end up being fine. I don't know, but it's definitely going to change college football, and it's
already changing.
I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I guess they didn't ask me, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, anybody that says this is the way it's always been done, run away from them, everybody. Just run away from them because they obviously don't pay attention enough that everything changed in 2019.
Yeah.
And from that point until now is just a completely different sport than what happened before.
I wonder how much difference we're going to see now with people like Ole Miss and Tennessee, who have the younger coaches that are more, adaptable, I guess, at the moment. And then the blue bloods like Alabama and Georgia over here with our other two compatriots here, would they have the established coaches that have been in the system and know what they're doing and, win? So are they going to adapt as fast too? I mean, Alabama has the advantage of being Alabama. They can, they can adapt. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, but hey, we got a new college football game coming out because of all this. So, that's what everybody wanted.
Absolutely.
Here we go. We got chaos. Yep.
Yeah, and I've told everybody on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast when I do, my normal daily show, that there are 3 ways to build a roster now. And there used to be one. That was high school recruiting, and then you could like supplement it a little bit elsewhere. But it was a high school heavy roster, and people kind of had, like, whenever I refer to it as blue blood recruiting, that's what I mean, the way it was done in 2018. Now there's 3 ways you can build your roster, and it's going to be less than that if this transfer rule goes through, or more than that if this transfer rule goes through. But right now, they're the blue bloods, the original recruiters, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States. Those guys still get to recruit. The second are the NIL monsters like Tennessee, like Texas, Texas A&M, Miami. They do that. Now, remember, Alabama, the NIL price for Alabama is less than it would be for Tennessee. It's less than it would be for Miami. It's less than it would be for Ole Miss. But that's kind of like the blue blood advantage that they have. It might cost them $8 million to get Nico Imaleva. Cost you or $6 million or whatever, and it costs you guys 8. And the other one is the transfer portal. These are for people that can't really go out and do the New York Yankees thing on the NIL market, and they don't have the name and brand recognition of the Blue Bloods. This is where Ole Miss sits. It's where they're living at the moment. And because of this, I think Ole Miss has a chance to have an advantage if this transfer rule goes through, because they've already essentially been focusing themselves as a transfer school. So while everybody else is kind of learning how to swim in these waters, Ole Miss has a chance to almost Boise State this, to where they have 2 or 3 years of a head start, and they can kind of position themselves as the transfer locale until their brand gets up to where NIL money comes down a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. So that is probably their path to the next level.
That actually makes good sense, because I mean, at this point, if this rule has already gone into effect, right? Or are they just saying they're going?
It's been recommended, hadn't been voted on yet.
Okay. Well, if it does, at this point, there's going to be a lot of kids that are wanting to now jump to bigger programs to pay more money and get more recognition. If Ole Miss is one of the leaders in that and can get themselves established as a school where people transfer to and then gets them to the NFL, I mean, that's a good reputation to have moving forward. And if you can do that faster than schools like Alabama or Georgia or even Tennessee, well, not Tennessee as much, but Alabama and Georgia, who just don't need to do that right away because they have such good programs and so many kids in it anyway, and all those kids are going to the NFL, then yeah, no, I see that. Getting yourself established as a leader there is a smart move.
It is.
Yeah, and like the Travis Hunter situation at Jackson State. Once this transfer rule goes into effect, that'll both be more of a likely landing spot for people and less of a likely landing spot, because you don't necessarily want to start your journey real low. You want to go as high as you can get to where you can bounce up to it, to wherever you want to be.
Yeah. God, could you imagine being one of those teams, though? It's going to be chaos. Every year they're going to lose half the roster.
This year, Ole Miss lost 6 assistant coaches, and they had like 17 transfers coming in, along with a whole bunch of people that transferred out, including their whole running back field.
Yeah.
But you got not so great at running back, so
yeah. It's crazy. The running back room is going to be one of the best in the nation, and you wouldn't have thought that 6 months ago whenever they lost Jerry and Ely, Snoop Connor, and Henry Parrish, who all had like years left that they could play.
Yeah. And they would have been starting, or at least one of them would have been the starter next year. But they went on to greener pastures, I guess.
Yeah, Snoop Connor drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jerry and Ely, I think he signed a free agent contract in the NFL. And then Henry Parrish transferred to Miami.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I know you don't want us to know this in fantasy football, but Snoop might be like a low-key late pick there. He could have a decent season with Travis Etienne. I don't know how you say it.
Travis Etienne.
Etienne, yeah. Being still kind of hurt and maybe coming back, but he's going to be, still going to be fresh and new. And then I think James Robinson's hurt too. So
yeah, Snoop's a really good one-cut back in that Terrell Davis mode.
he might be pretty good early in the season. They might have to lean on him a bit. But anyway, no, yeah, you're right. I don't know. It's fun to talk about, and it gives us a lot to talk about on the shows. It's just going to be chaos.
Yeah,
it's going to be fantastic because we don't cover recruiting. Also, we didn't even talk about this. Like I may have said it before, but if this transfer rule comes through, this is the last signing day that's meaningful, and it really isn't, because next year you can re-recruit all those guys again, which means sites like Rivals, 247 On 3, their whole business model is going away to the point where the drama that they built about recruiting. You can go on any board and see that people are losing their mind about recruiting right now, no matter where you go. But now all of a sudden that won't be an issue. How do you tell people that this is do or die whenever you have 5 chances to do it?
Right.
Yeah. You're gonna have to expand. They're gonna have to keep watching kids even after they've been signed, or they've gone to teams.
Yeah.
Keep a recruiting profile on them, because they could move at any moment. And our school's gonna have to increase their scouting department and everything. That's gonna be
Tennessee, Alabama, and Ole Miss and Georgia. All the people that are on this show, they have a player personnel department, and part of that player personnel department is a whole group of people that scout people to play on other college rosters.
And that department's about to get bigger.
It's about to become the dominant department.
Yeah,
because
that's true. I guess the high school ones will just move over and do that.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we'll talk to a high school coach about this as Corey is coming in.
All right.
Just show it when you can.
Corey.
Yeah. Practice there, meathead.
Yeah. We're talking about the we already talked about Matt Corral regretting his decision at Ole Miss. And now we're talking about the new transfer rule and how that is going to absolutely destroy high school recruiting.
Oh boy, yeah, it will. It will. I think, because you're going to see a lot of these. Now the 5 stars will get recruited, no problem. 4 stars probably.
Yep.
The high 4 stars probably get recruited, no problem. What's going to happen is these 3 stars are going to. That's who's going to suffer.
Yeah.
The kids that are borderline are going to suffer. Like, you're going to see kids that probably could play Power 5. They're going to end up in FCS because that's the only people that's going to recruit high schoolers at this point.
Well, but if they hit, that's the point where they're going to be re-recruited. They can move up. As like I told them, FCS and like the Conference USA, that area is going to be like A-ball. The middle G5 and the lower Power 5 is going to be like AA. And then you have the SEC and the Big Ten that's going to be like AAA football, all leading to the NFL.
Right.
That's right. And so, but even the percentages of that are low. I don't think kids should bank on that. But it's going to be weird to get used to. And I think they should just go ahead and lean into it and go with the national championships for G5 as well, in addition to FCS Division II, Division III. I think they just need to go ahead and lean into it and just have it FBS national champion, whatever you want to call it, group of 5 national champion, FCS, and so on down. Like, they need to reorg it.
Wait, real quick before we move on, I want to ruin our clean rating for the podcast real quick. Have y'all seen this shit that Kevin Warren had pulled for the Big Ten today?
No.
Where he talked about wanting to expand the college football playoff to 16 teams.
I saw the headline. I haven't read anything about it.
I've been kind of in a freaking tornado of stuff today, so.
Yeah, he thinks the time is right to expand the playoff to the 16 teams, and they don't think that automatic bids are as important as they were. All of the stuff that they were stickling to, basically to stick it to the SEC last year, now they want to do it because they think they're going to qualify for it, and they think they're going to be a big deal.
Well, of course, yeah. If it's going to help us, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, it's like USC, and you got a 4-8 USC and UCLA coming in your league, and you think that's going to turn things around? Actually, rumors came out today This is Big Ten After Dark. That Stanford, Cal, Oregon, and Washington is being vetted by the Big Ten as well.
So
they got to get a West Coast.
Pac-12.
Yeah, they just got to get a West Coast presence so that they don't have to.
Yeah, you can look at the map and tell that was coming. And then you got the Four Corners school that will end up in the Big 12, which would be Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. And then Oregon State and Washington State will end up in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
This is going to turn into professional sports like they do in the Major League. They do a West Coast swing where they just go out on the West Coast and play their 2 or 3 games and come back home.
Yeah, they'll go out there 2 or 3 weeks and play West Coast teams and then come back home.
That's fun.
But if I was the ACC, I'd be very nervous if the Big Ten goes to 20.
Yeah.
Because I do not think the Big Ten is going to ignore the ACC. I think they're going to go after North Carolina. I think they're going to go after Duke. I think they're going to go after Virginia. And, of course, they're going to try and get Notre Dame, and that'll be their 24.
They might even go after Pitt, too, to try to get that natural rivalry with Penn State.
Yeah, potentially. So the SEC, Virginia Tech, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Florida State, absolutely perfect. Miami would work. Clemson would work. That'll get you to 20. But now, because the other one's at 24, you get to pick and choose a little bit. You might be able to take Oklahoma State. Honestly, people joke all the time, but I say go after Kansas. If you can get Kansas, because Missouri needs that game. And then go get Georgia Tech. And go get, let's see, I said NC State. Go get Wake or somebody like that. Give Vandy somebody to play with. And then you got 24 and 24, 2 superpowers.
Are you talking about TSU? TSU? To go rate the Southern Conference?
Yeah. So,
we could have,
that'd be 48 teams. And that'd be close to 20. Like, if you count the Big 12, it'd be close to like 68, 70 teams. Almost all of the Power 5 would be incorporated into this system.
And that's how you get out of the NCAA. Just have this super conferences come together and do that.
The Super League.
Super League.
Oh, by the way, I figured out why the NCAA is appearing to just do nothing. I figured it out finally.
They can't?
No.
A bunch of gutless bastards?
No, they're not gutless. This is all planned, all part of a strategy. And the strategy
blew that out of the water.
Yeah, and the strategy is protect the money from the basketball tournament at all costs. The next step, if they do not allow freedom of movement, that's this open transfer thing, is them demanding to get paid for play. And they want a piece of these TV contracts. And if that happens, all of a sudden the NCAA and college sports probably goes away, as we know. And I think they're intentionally trying to keep college sports the way it is and give freedom of movement. You can do everything else you can do. You just don't have a right to this money.
It's interesting how it's all shaken out. If college sports does go away, how would you guarantee kids would go to these institutions? Probably wouldn't, right? They'd probably just be.
Yeah.
Without
being recruited in scholarships, you got a whole bunch of people that are going to trade schools. Which might not necessarily be a bad deal to have those guys instead of art history majors.
Yeah.
Got your left tackle as a welder.
Well, he knows at least he's hardened.
That is true. He's not soft, that's for sure.
Right.
He's not soft. So this whole freedom of transfer thing is going to be interesting how that plays out. I mean, obviously it's good for the kids, because the coaches can be free to go wherever. I mean, they have to do a buyout and stuff like that. But if you have NIL and you want to transfer, do you have to pay back? Do you have to pay a buyout, or is there stuff I wonder how that's going to work if you merge these two things together? Let's say our boy at UT, our $8 million man at UT, wants to transfer after year one because he hates Josh Heupel, and he wants to go to Tulsa.
I've been wondering about this because with the NIL, when they first started talking about it, and it may have evolved since then because it's been a while, but they were saying, I mean, it's not really tied to like scholarships at the school, so do they have to give it back? I don't know.
But they don't have to give it back. They just stop getting paid.
Yeah.
And there's probably some sort of out clause where in the way that they word it, where it doesn't look like a recruiting inducement, but it's a recruiting inducement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as he keeps showing up and making the commercials or whatever, I don't know what you could say, but I guess
Hey, Coach Gundy, I got to go back to Knoxville. I got to film a commercial real quick for Calhoun's.
Need that $8 million. I get it. No, there's got to be something in the contract, but I don't know that I've actually seen a contract for one that's come out yet.
I was always curious.
I didn't see any kind of NIL contract come out for anybody.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah. Before schools have any real way to do it.
They'll get the 2 and 3 stars that are competing for a chance to move over to one of the big schools.
They'll get the overachieving 3 stars that haven't transferred yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll get the 4-star cast off from the bigger guys.
And you're going to hear a whole bunch about culture, by the way, because you basically have to recruit your whole roster, and you're going to have people assigned to just recruit your roster and keep them happy. Because if they're not happy, if you're in a dysfunctional place, all of a sudden you could have 45 people transfer at the end of a year.
Yeah.
That's true. That's going to make discipline tough too. You know, if a coach is too tough on someone, they may just leave.
Well, I mean, it's a revolving door. So one guy out, one guy in. I mean, you could go to the transfer portal is flooded right now, so you could go pick somebody up.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that the transfer portal, because it still has the stigma and it's slowly starting to kind of go away. But you look at the transfer portal as damaged goods. Mm-hmm. And that just isn't the case. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not damaged goods. It's just people that need a new. I mean, for some people, yes, there are some in there that, like Tate Martell, who's been in the transfer portal 5 times already.
Yeah.
You know, like he's damaged goods. Mm-hmm. But like, you can find some really good stuff in there. And like if Georgia's really hard off on a quarterback because they didn't sign Arch Manning this cycle, I mean, they could go in the transfer portal, get some dude from Delaware to fill out the roster, and and just go
down there in FCS. There's like you said, a Joe Flacco. There's a Tony Romo down there.
Yeah,
exactly. Like the movement is going to be insane. I think like there's going to be, because it's going to be a whole lot of like, it's going to be like a free agent frenzy every year, and especially when it just starts to kick off, and then obviously like everything else, it'll kind of calm down because people have to have a place to go.
I have a question. You think we could ever get to the point where, say, somebody has like a $10 million NIL deal that plays for, let's just say, Oregon, and they maybe don't get to start and they kind of get upset with their coach? Do you think the schools will turn on the coaches just to keep that guy there, or at any point during this?
Depends.
Could that ever happen?
That's
what I'm thinking too.
If it's a once-off, probably not. If it's one player, probably not. But you would have to get a situation where, like, let's use Auburn as an example, like where a bunch of players spoke out against Brian Harsin. Well, if there's a lot of money involved in that, the schools might go, Harsin, you got to go, bro.
There's a lot of money already tied up in other coaches for Auburn, though, too, so that they've bought out.
Well, like in Oregon, we'll just use the Oregon comparison. Let's say Phil Knight has a $10 million quarterback. Mm-hmm. He paid $10 million for this quarterback to come in. And the quarterback obviously did not win the quarterback race in the competition. The other guy that maybe is not an NIL monster won the job and clearly won the job. Mm-hmm. Now you could have a problem because you have a booster with $10 million tied up that anytime you need money, he helps your program. You have to keep him happy. And you have a quarterback that's obviously better and obviously won the job that I mean, the vitriol towards that guy and the pressure to play the $10 million quarterback is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you play the $10 million quarterback and he loses, then you're screwed either way.
Yeah.
I think it's the boosters just have to assume some sort of risk. Like if you're going to invest that much money into somebody, you got to assume that there's some risk that they're not going to play. And I know that's easier said than done because these boosters are freaking nuts. But I think I think as a booster, if you have any sort of rationality anywhere in your blood, you would say, okay, well, you're not the starting quarterback now, so this deal is contingent on you winning the start. Like you're going to start seeing things like this money is contingent on you winning this job, and I could see very easily boosters pulling back their money if a kid doesn't win a starting job, rather than always. It's not always going to be go after the coach. It's going to be sometimes they're just going to pull their money.
Yeah.
But if the booster still has the money, if given this $10 million, he could get in the AD's ear and say, hey, I'm giving $10 million, and I've always helped out the school and the program when they needed it. I want my guy on the field next Saturday. And if he's not, then either you need to get rid of the quarterback or I'm fixing to go, start, I guess, signing waivers and stuff to get rid of you. We could potentially have that, but, come down the line.
I could see that too.
What's actually fun about this is going after these players and boosters redirecting their money to do that. They join these collectives. You know who's not getting that money? The school. The school that's used to getting it. So that influence that they had in the athletic department is going to get less and less and less. He might have the ear of the head football coach, but all of a sudden the AD doesn't really care. Because that money that they were going to redo the stadium with. Ole Miss had a capital campaign that they started in January, which I told them on my show that this was doomed to die. But they've already cut it in half, the amount that they're going to try and get because of NIL, and it's probably going to be cut in half again. Yeah. And basically, I've done this show like 3 or 4 times. NIL is going to burn the complete and whole oxygen out of the room. There's not going to be anything for anybody else. It's all going to be about NIL. And you have these NIL clubs now, like the Oxford NIL Club. It's basically a message board. It's you can donate $5, $25, or $100 a month. And it's completely run by the players. And they have little goodies, like you get a Zach Evans football jersey if you donate $25 a month. You get to eat a steak dinner with a player if you donate $100 a month, or stuff like that. They're completely going after the smaller money that's around football. And by smaller, I mean like the On3 subscriber, the Rivals subscriber, the 24/7 subscriber. It's going to have a message board. If that message board is worth anything at all of a sudden the worth is like 3 times as much as what you get from these recruiting sites. And then you have the knowledge that these recruiting sites, recruiting's not going to matter. High school recruiting is going to be 1 out of 5 ways to build your roster, not the only way.
Right.
I mean, we have a major shift coming up.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily a bad shift. It's just going to be different.
Yeah.
And change is always rough at the beginning, but once you kind of figure it out, it's fine. But there's gonna be a couple cycles of kids that don't end up anywhere because they get looked over. Like it's gonna really I worry about JUCO, like the kids that have to go the JUCO route. Like JUCO football is gonna die, I think.
Yeah,
it may die because, I mean, those kids are gonna. You talk about getting overlooked now. The primary recruiting tool for NAIA, or it's going to die completely.
Or FCS. You can see people from like East Mississippi, a good player, go to Jackson State, Valley, Alcorn.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just going to take more jumps. They're going to have to go JUCO first, then jump to an FCS school, and then hopefully jump up. But
I don't think JUCO players are ever going to jump up really, unless it's like a Cam Newton situation.
It's wild times.
All right, let's so we don't go too long tonight. Let's go to the top 5 running backs in SEC history.
See, this is such a fun discussion. We were doing this over text message or direct message or whatever you want to call it on Twitter between the 4 of us, and this was such a fun list to put together because there's so many names, there's so many candidates. Yeah. Obviously, we know who number 1 and number 2 is, but there's so many other candidates that it was. I mean, for me, it was kind of hard to narrow down because you have to consider a lot of different things. So what we're going to do, same format as last week, right? That we did with the quarterbacks. We're going to pick the top 2 from each school. We're going to determine a final candidate for each school for consideration, and then we're going to pare that list down to 10, and then to 5, and then we're going to put them in order.
Works.
Okay. So let's start with Georgia and Auburn. We just need to go ahead and name an honorable mention for each of these schools because we know who their representative is and we know where they fit. So for Georgia, I think your honorable mention's got to be Nick Chubb because he's number 2 on the all-time rushing list.
And if he wouldn't have got injured, my gosh.
You know, the only thing I question about Nick Chubb is, as good as he is, did he just get more reps than Garrison Hurst?
He got probably less because he had Sony Michel with him. And Sony Michel's also in the rushing list too, in the top 20 all time. Carried the team to a national played on some pretty pitiful teams in 13, 14, 15. Right, no, it was 14, 15, 16 were some pretty rough looking teams for Georgia. Carried them, got hurt. Came back in 17 for his last dance and took him to the Natty. Was a huge part in the comeback against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like Nick Chubb, first possession out of halftime, broke like 37 tackles and scored.
Yep.
So to me, you know, I love Garrison Hurst, and Garrison Hurst is definitely, but Garrison Hurst didn't have the production. Garrison Hurst was on some pretty bad teams as well, but Nick Chubb, I think Nick Chubb got it done.
Okay.
I think you go Herschel, Chubb, Hurst, and then you go like Gurley, Sony, Noshawn Marino, Rodney Hampton. Lars Tate. Yeah. Lars Tate.
Lars.
It's Lars Tate. He's running over people. All right, so let's look at Auburn. All right, obviously you got Bo. Who's next in line at Auburn?
Cadillac.
Yeah, it's got to be Cadillac. I mean, I think
like the we consensus on that.
Yeah, maybe Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown was really good too.
Yeah,
I ran with him.
Yeah.
And then maybe eventually the guy they got now, Tank Bigsby.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a work in progress, so we don't really know. But
who was the guy that ran for like 1,800 yards under Gus?
It wasn't Kenny Irons, was it? No. No. He played Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Got drafted by Detroit, just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a consider. I think it's Cadillac then Kerryon.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. All right, now let's look at our representatives from around the conference. So let's stay in the Eastern Division. Let's go down to Florida. Let's pick out our representatives from Florida.
Emmitt Smith and Fred Taylor.
Yep.
And you got to look at Eric Rhett too. Eric Rhett's on the Rhett
he's
is on
good.
the all-time rushing list too.
Not saying he's bad. It's just those two guys are.
When you think of
Smith,
Florida,
he's obvious. But.
When you think of Florida running backs, those are the two that first come to mind.
Yeah.
Those are the two. I mean, stat-wise, Eric Rhett is up there, but we all know like the impact that those other two have. And Eric Rhett had a nice career in the NFL, but not. And Fred Taylor's got cut short, I think, with injury. But Emmitt Smith is.
Yeah, he went to Jacksonville. It can be excused.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we're gonna say Emmitt Smith, right?
Oh yeah,
he's the finalist from Florida. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, let's look at South Carolina. This is going to be a little bit tougher. You got Marcus Lattimore.
George
you have
Rogers.
George Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else that come to mind? Probably not.
They've had some decent backs. George Rogers won a Heisman. I think he needs to go up above Lattimore. I mean, although Lattimore in pre-injury was special.
I still feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Tennessee tearing his knee up. Oh,
He is a dude.
Yeah.
Was a dude.
Tennessee messed up Waddle too, Jeb. So
yeah.
What's going on with Tennessee? Messed up Chubb.
Yeah.
well, y'all damn dirty players down there. No, I'm just
We just tackle hard.
The groundskeeper got credit for Chubb.
Maybe they slipped. Maybe they slipped on mustard bottles.
Oh,
There was a Titleist hidden on the field that he slipped on.
Yeah.
Number one ball for the Vols. Here we go.
yeah.
So speaking of the Vols, it's obvious George Rogers for South Carolina. Who leads the way?
God, I remember all the ones from when like the '90s, late '90s, and all that. People like Travis Henry and Travis Stevens. Which Travis Henry might be on the list. Arian Foster was real big.
Aaron Foster. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jamal Lewis is probably still my favorite watching him run. I just don't know how many records he didn't play for a long time either, so I don't know.
I mean, the first guy I think about is Jamal Lewis.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah, he was so much fun to watch.
Now, when we do the defensive end list, Reggie White has got to be number one. But
Absolutely.
the minister of defense.
Yeah.
He
would be.
But I think it's Jamal Lewis.
James Stewart was real good.
Whenever we do that list, I have a hilarious Greg Hardy story.
All right.
All right.
Does it involve him thinking you're cheating on Becky and?
No, that was Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy just decided in the middle of practice that he wanted to go to Disney
fine,
World,
baby.
so he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Send old Moo Moo in there, Cass. Okay, so
Jamal
so
Lewis.
do we want to say Jamal Lewis? Is that a consensus?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that'd be close to me is Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, but he didn't do that well at Tennessee because they just didn't use him right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a Butch problem.
That's shocking.
Yeah, exactly.
But even now, if
Which
you
was
look at
really
Alvin Kamara's highlights, you're like, man, okay, it was there.
Yeah. See, that's how Jamal Lewis looked running to me. You could just tell, this guy's just special.
Jamal Lewis
Whereas
was
someone
a
like
man.
Travis Henry, even though I think he's the all-time rushing leader as far as yardage, but he's still, he was a bowling ball. He just ran through people.
Yeah.
But
I'll
go with
Jamal Lewis in Baltimore, legit.
Unstoppable.
Oh yeah, in the NFL he was great.
He's really good.
I mean, his career was cut short with injuries too.
Calm down,
Cassidy. Okay, Jamal Lewis. All right, let's go. Let's stay in the state. Let's go, Vandy.
Ralph Webb. Yeah.
What about Keyshawn Vaughn? What about Keyshawn Vaughn?
Yeah.
Ralph Webb was like fifth on the SEC all-time rushing list.
At Vandy.
Is he really?
At Vandy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Ralph Webb it is. Okay. Let's go Kentucky.
I feel like they should have had somebody.
Benny Snell.
Yeah, Benny
Benny
Snell.
Snell. Yeah.
Gotta be Benny Snell.
Yeah.
Good God, you were right about Ralph Webb. That's impressive.
Did you doubt Steven?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
Steven's like a walking encyclopedia of college football. You ought to know
I was
that.
trying to remember somebody's name. Zach Stacy's who I was trying to remember.
That's the one that I was trying to think. Yeah, the
Yeah.
James Franklin running back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was
it's
really
Zach
good.
Stacy. But unfortunately, he is famous for his domestic abuse charge.
Yeah.
He's infamous.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a really the video on him is really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Franklin really did some Urban Meyer Florida in his time in Nashville.
Yeah, Zach Stacy was a star pupil here. I mean, it's bad. Like it's real bad. I saw it. I was like,
hit his girl with a TV.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he used to host He used to co-host Bleav In Vandy with my man Matt Perkins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right.
Benny Snell,
Kentucky,
yes.
Benny Snell. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Missouri. Is it Larry Roundtree?
Yeah, probably Larry Roundtree.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I think he's like 8th or 9th on the SEC career list.
Yeah, so it's got to be Larry Roundtree.
Wow. Okay.
All right. We got Georgia. Who else is in the East that we didn't get? Is that everybody?
Florida, Georgia. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. We got Auburn. All right, let's go Alabama. Route Tide.
Forrest
Derrick
Gump.
Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Forrest
Gump.
Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump. Yeah. Or, I mean, Sean Alexander's really good too, but I think Derrick is it.
Sean did have a good career.
Yeah.
If you look at NFL.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry's still the only guy who ever ran for 2,000 yards in high school, college, and the NFL.
Right. Yeah.
Dude,
Derrick
it's just-
Henry. Dude,
Just ridiculous.
well, when you're like 250, it's like a bowling ball running through there. You can't take it.
So Steve,
and
my last year at Rivals, not my last year, but the last year I traveled. That's the last thing I traveled to, was the Army Bowl that year, and on the sideline, like Derrick Henry was on the sideline. Derrick Henry was playing in the game. That dude was a monster.
I would say Derrick Henry is the only guy I know who has made a guy do a 180 flip with the stiff arm and completely turn the guy around to block his own players in a stiff arm. So there you go.
Yeah, Derrick Henry gets the vote, but I just want to say T.J. Yeldon because somebody needs to say it.
And Mark Ingram is an honorable mention too.
And I'll tell you, Trent Richardson at Alabama was a really, really good running back. Just did not have it in the NFL.
Got
So was
2
Eddie
first-round
Lacy.
picks spent on him, basically.
And Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
And Brian Robinson. Well,
Um,
we'll see what he does in the pros. But
right.
Good grief. Let's not talk about Alabama.
Najee Harris.
Najee.
Yeah.
Justin Jacobs. Of course, Justin didn't really, or Josh Jacobs.
Josh.
He didn't really get.
I think you got to go. I think Najee didn't win a Heisman, but I think he was more effective than Mark Ingram.
Yes, he absolutely was.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the impact that he had on those Alabama teams. That dude was nasty.
You know, the funny thing is, whenever Ole Miss was beating Alabama, we didn't worry about Derrick Henry. We could handle Derrick Henry. T.J. Yeldon scared the hell out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeldon was a he was a special dude. He just didn't fit in the NFL anywhere like that.
Yeah, he went to Jacksonville.
If he came in the NFL like 4 years later, he would be he would still be playing right now.
Yeah.
Like he came in too early. And Danny Woodhead came in like 4 decades too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Danny Woodhead would have been an all-pro for the Phoenix Cardinals. For the Acme Packers or whatever.
St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals, whatever.
Yeah.
I was trying to think on the fly there.
Neil Lomax. I know
go.
way too much useless shit.
Yes, you do. Okay, so we're saying Derrick Henry for Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be my vote.
LSU, you got Kevin Falk,
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Fournette,
Dalton Hilliard.
Dalton Hilliard.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards Alaire is an honorable mention. He's not the guy, but he's an honorable mention.
I think it was probably Kevin Falk. That dude at LSU was just good.
He's what, 4th on the all-time rushing list?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
He's right above Bo.
Oh,
Bo's 5th.
Oh, I'd have said Leonard before, but no, I think you've convinced me. All right. Anybody who's above Bo in a statistic category wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Bo did so many other things.
I think Kevin Falk was Marshall Falk's cousin, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
There was a run. There was a run of time where Georgia always had someone from the Bailey family, Champ, Boss, and then
there was a
LSU
third one
always
too,
had
I think.
Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny Bailey.
Okay.
There was a cousin too. I forget who the cousin was, but and then there was always a Falk at LSU.
Yep.
See, it seemed like there was always a Falk. Okay, Arkansas.
Oh, Darren McFadden.
Darren McFadden, yeah.
But who was running back with him? Yeah,
Felix Jones. And who was the fullback?
Peyton Hillis.
They had all three of them.
Yeah.
All three was.
You can't forget Corey Birmingham.
The funny thing is, the Wildcat was born out of necessity at how good Darren McFadden was, and a jet sweep to Felix Jones. That's how the Wild Hog was created. And that was a Gus Malzahn invention at Arkansas.
There you go. Well done.
It was like his amoeba cam.
Yep. How about Ole Miss? How about Old Mississippi?
Deuce McAllister, Dexter McCluster.
Yeah.
I still remember Dexter running for about 4 million miles against Tennessee in 09.
I remember too. Yes, thank you.
Jeb's like, thanks for the memories. Yeah, we may be winning the game.
Nice.
Since our clean rating's gone, McClusterfuck.
Yeah. Which, in the NFL, he was on the Titans for a short period of time. So don't hate him, but yes, I remember.
He was on a bad era for the Titans.
Right.
Fun fact: Coach O put him back as a kickoff returner whenever he was a freshman. I think it was 06. And Vanderbilt almost killed him on a kickoff return. Literally, like it was close.
Yeah.
Knocked him out for like 4 weeks. It was just a hit on a kickoff return. Dexter McCluster never returned to kick again.
Wow.
Don't blame him. That is bad.
I don't blame him.
Oh, I know another one for Ole Miss. Isn't that where Ben Jarvis Green Ellis went? The law
Yes.
firm.
The law firm, yes.
Yeah.
And Brandon Bolden,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
who is still with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice career as a backup running back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, for this, it'd probably be Deuce, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Deuce, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you don't think of Ole Miss and it's Deuce. Where did Deuce Staley go? Speaking of
South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Who's the better Staley, Deuce or Don?
Ooh. And
Probably Dawn.
Probably Dawn.
Probably Dawn. She wins national championships. He coaches for the Lions.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. With old kneecap biter. Mississippi State.
Anthony Dixon.
Yeah, probably so.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Not a great history there.
Yeah, it's kind of thin here.
Yeah.
And then maybe Dante Walker.
Who?
Yeah.
Potentially like DeCenzo Miller or Pig Prather.
Was Dixon the tailback that played with Dak?
He did for a little bit. He was more of the tailback that played with Chris Relf.
Mm-hmm.
Who played with?
That was Josh Robinson.
Okay.
God.
Do not test Steve. Just
No.
don't do it. He'll send it right back. Just don't do it. Don't that.
Yeah.
All right, who we leave out?
A&M.
A&M, yeah.
Okay, who do we really leave out?
I was gonna say, I don't know who it'd be for A&M, to be honest with you. Oh no, there was a running back the Titans had I think when they were the Oilers. Rodney Thomas. Yeah, I knew I'd read his name earlier.
Lamar Toombs was really good for them.
Jaworski Lane.
Spiller was really good for him, but
it's got to be Spiller, right?
It's got to be.
I mean, Jaworski Lane, his claim to fame was being called a fat ass by Mike Sherman on Hard Knocks.
Jaworski Lane. Let's see. Spiller's kind of low down on their list.
yeah.
Darren Lewis, who's that?
Huh?
Yeah,
Let's just say Isaiah Spiller and move on because they're not going to the finals anyway.
Yeah.
Although, fun fact, and when it comes to rushing, number 4 of a single season ever, and number 1 of most touchdowns in a single season ever, not owned by a running back.
Yeah, it's Johnny
Guess
Football.
who it is?
Johnny Football, yeah.
Most rushing
Folks,
touchdowns in a single
that's
season.
the reason he ended up on the quarterback top 5.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It is.
Pull that clip for TikTok.
Or or sad for A&M's running back history. I don't know. One or the other.
Yeah.
Okay, let's narrow this thing down.
Okay.
Herschel and Bo's number 1.
Emmitt Smith's
Herschel-
going to be.
Herschel's 1 because he's got a national championship.
Yeah.
He played in 2 others. Rushed for 5,000 yards in 3 seasons before moving on to the fighting Donald Trumps of the USFL.
I'll give you that. Herschel's 1.
Bo played like 8 sports at Auburn.
Yeah.
And he played 8 sports and once he left Auburn.
Yeah.
He is the original Chuck Norris of like the mythical jokes, you know.
And he was actually better, good at baseball too, unlike Michael Jordan, who tried to go down that route and was just awful.
He tried.
Yeah.
You know, if they didn't have a strike though, I think Michael Jordan in 3 seasons would have been in the bigs as a productive player. 3 seasons with his attitude, with his like dedication. You don't think so?
No, he just needed to stick to basketball.
He would have figured
He
something
might
out.
have done it. Yeah.
I mean, he did the right thing by going back to basketball, but he would have figured it out.
I wouldn't have bet against him. I'll give you that.
You just don't ever bet against Michael Jordan.
Don't never bet against the GOAT.
Michael Jordan is probably the most competitive person I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, his want to would be off the chart. I just don't think he could.
Right.
He would figure out a way. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know if he would gotten above a 250 hitter.
I'm not saying he would have been an all-star in the bigs, but he would have.
No, I mean for the Birmingham Barons. I'm not even talking about the big leagues.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. He started in the fall league. He started being a little bit productive. I know it's fall league, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I just wish his want to was there as a team owner too, because the Hornets are awful. So.
Well, I mean, when he
and I took that personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took that person.
I wonder if he laughs watching Hornets games the way he laughed at his iPad during the Last Dance.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But I mean, the team that when he came on board, they were still the Bobcats. That was the most pitiful basketball team I've ever seen in my life, and I'm a Hawks fan.
Don't remind me. I've been a Hornets / Bobcats fan since they returned.
Wait, hold on. Let's unpack this thing.
I'll tell you the reason why. Hang on just a second.
Grandmama. Oh.
No, it's Muggsy Bogues.
Oh, okay. The Alabama Wallace. I don't know his first name.
Gerald Wallace.
Gerald Wallace.
He was their first pick when they became an expansion team, and I followed them ever since.
Bro.
As a crying fan.
Yeah. Bro.
just for your edification, Jake, just say Grandmama made you a Hornets fan.
Right, yeah.
Or you can go Alonzo Mourning or Muggsy Bogues. Any one of those three. Jake, I'm a Hawks fan. I don't have a ton of room to talk, but
you got a lot more than we do,
bro.
I don't watch any NBA at all, but I'm a Pelicans fan.
I love it. Yeah,
so I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm a Grizzlies fan. Don't really watch it.
Yeah, but John Moran is like a beast.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And the only reason I still watch the Hornets right now is because of Ball. That's about the only thing. And Miles Bridges is domestic violence against him, so he's gone now. So I don't know what we're going to have.
Okay, we got off track here.
I guess I should be in this case. I should be a Timberwolves fan, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards. He played a great villain in that movie Hustle with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that was actually a good movie.
Wasn't he also in Revenge of the Nerds?
Probably, yeah.
Nerds.
Nerds.
Anthony Edwards, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
back on track.
back on track. So we got 1 and 2.
Herschel and Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Herschel and Bo. All right, who goes number 3?
There's 2 more I really like. Emmitt Smith, I feel like has to be somewhere up near the top, and Darren McFadden, just because of how good he was at Arkansas.
Right.
But after that, I have no idea.
I'm sorry. I really like Kevin Falk here.
Yeah, Falk's a good.
Because he was a little bitty guy that for 4 years did what Dexter McCluster did over 2. And was just a threat. He was a force. And that was back when Eddie Kennison was playing for the Bayou Bengals. Herb Tyler's at quarterback. They made Jerry DiNardo look acceptable as a coach.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big win.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. I like Kevin Falk there. I do. I can get down with that.
So, Darren McFadden be next potentially, or would you go Emmitt Smith?
I was never an Arkansas fan, but Darren McFadden was just.
I would go. Darren McFadden. I might even be inclined to put Darren McFadden at 3.
Man,
yeah, I do. I think it's McFadden and Falk, whichever way you want to put it, and I think 5 is pretty well set.
And Emmett's got to round out the list. Yeah, I think when you look at McFadden, like what he did, I think Arkansas would not have been where they were. Arkansas made the SEC championship that year,
right?
Because of Darren McFadden.
It was not off passing.
They got the brakes beat off of them by, was it Florida?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because that would have been 2007. So, yeah, that would have been Tebow.
Yep.
2000.
Or 2006, maybe? Was it 06?
7 was the year that Tennessee should have gone and got beat by LSU.
Yeah, so 7 was LSU. So it would have been Florida the year before. Or maybe the year after. Either 06 or 08.
Might have been 08, actually.
It was Darren McFadden and Felix Jones, and that was about it for Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they got to the SEC championship for a second time in the decade, and it was just.
And that's true. You knew what that team was going to do on almost every play, and
you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop
it.
Like McFadden. Like, you think of Darren McFadden, unfortunately, he didn't have a great NFL career because he went with the Raiders, but dude was, my God, man, like, and he's like, what, 6th on the all-time rushing list?
Yeah.
So I think you go McFadden, Falk, Emmitt would be my list. So Herschel, number 1, won a Heisman, won a Natty, should have won 2. Was in it for 2 Heismans, was in it for 3 Natties. Some guy named Dan Marino ruined his second bid for a national championship. Jeez, some slappy quarterback.
Laces out, Dan.
Laces out. Dan didn't know how to put the laces out on a field goal. Jeez Louise.
Finkel and I.
Ray Finkel has got to be Ray Finkel's behind bars. Darren McFadden. He stole the Dolphin, guys. Come on. Darren McFadden, Kevin Falk. Because Kevin Falk, when you think of LSU, he is like Mr. LSU.
Yeah.
Him or Dalton Hilliard.
Yeah. I'd go Kevin Falk. I'd go Kevin Falk. And then Emmitt. He resurrected Florida was nothing, and then Emmitt Smith came along, and then they had some. That's when they started their run of really good years. Then Spurrier came right after Emmitt, and then they went on their run of the 90s.
Y'all want some fun trivia?
Sure.
Trivia time.
Emmitt Smith in high school ran for 100 yards every game but 1. Who was they playing against?
He went to Escambia. Which was in the Panhandle, so they were playing Tallahassee Lincoln.
I'm gonna say Brentwood, Tennessee.
McGee, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Why were they playing McGee?
Just was set up. Yeah, that before regional games happened, for whatever reason, McGee played Escambia. Of course, that would have been about a 2-hour drive, honestly, If you were going to be real.
So was he about to rush for 100 yards and like he was sitting at like 95 and you made the last tackle for no gain he would have gone over 100?
No, I did not play high school football when Emmitt Smith was playing high school football. I'm not quite that old. He's got me by about a decade.
Oh,
Get it? Because Steve went to McGee High School.
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
That's the reason I know about that,
ago.
because that was the urban legend that they even told that story whenever we were playing, when we got up to high school football, that they were able to hold Emmitt Smith down. Because
I
at that
would be
point,
worried if they didn't tell that story.
Yeah, because that was at the point in time when he was with the Cowboys, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He was busy. He was busy rushing for 150 yards with one shoulder.
Yeah.
On Monday Night Football.
Did they win that game, Steve?
In the blistering cold.
I don't think they won that game.
But
Bleav it, I think Escambia won.
Wow.
They were lining up with 9 men in the box every time.
Yeah.
Let's
They threw for
see.
742 yards, but they didn't run.
Quarterback had a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quarterback threw for 400 yards.
If you had their quarterback in fantasy that game, he's probably doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's some trivia. What high school did Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves, play at? Steve, don't answer this.
Bishop Sycamore. No, I'm just kidding.
Steve, I know you know this because we were sitting together.
I can't remember which one exactly, but I'll take a guess if they can't guess.
Which high school?
Jake's Googling it.
I have no
He's doing
idea.
the googly.
I couldn't even name very many high schools.
Miami Northwestern Senior High School.
I was about to say that.
I was going to get that right. Yeah.
No shit,
Of course
Steve.
you would, Steve.
But yeah.
The game against Escambia, McGee lost 7-6.
Oh my gosh.
Really? Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
gross.
That season,
Defensive struggle.
Didn't even
McGee
rush for
lost in the
99 yards.
state championship game, and they gave up, 7-14, 33, 39, 45 points in the regular season total.
Wow.
Wow. All right. So their defense was all right, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Defense was pretty good.
Defense pretty legit.
Their offense in that game, maybe not, but that was crazy. All right, let me find out how many yards Emmitt Smith had.
98 yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, it's gonna be something ridiculous. Like he had like 20 yards on like 38 carries.
They were letting him kneel on the ball at the end of the V. That's why he lost 100 yards.
Oh.
That'd be great.
Imagine if they did that.
He had 104, but he was in victory formation.
Oh man, that'd be so.
Lost 5 yards.
And they did it in the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that was the only game you didn't rush for 100 yards,
Oh, I'd be sick.
yeah.
You play to win the game. Jake, you guys had a pretty good show last night on Best of the West.
Appreciate it.
You and Stacey are kicking ass.
Yeah, we enjoyed doing that. We're getting able to get our schedule back.
Yeah.
Tap a little bit, especially with college football coming up.
So at this point, like, are you guys, since you guys do Tide Talk Live together, are you guys just going to merge the two shows and just kind of?
I don't know. I mean, we still do Best of the West and we do Tide Talk Live. I will say, on Tide Talk Live's YouTube, we're like 5 away from 1,000 subscribers. So,
Yeah, that's good.
so now we got to get Bleav In Georgia Dawgs up there, Corey. Come on now.
I know. We're working on it.
Yeah.
My star pupil Israel is he's getting there.
There we go.
I'm almost to 10,000 views on our top 10 stadiums
That's good.
graphic.
That's good.
Nice.
Jeb, how's your podcast going? No, I'm just-
Yeah, no, I haven't tried that yet. It's a chore just to get on here once a week. Come on.
So I posted a clip from Beast of the East yesterday, and it's already at 360.
Nice.
Our top 5 traditions is up to 550. Steve, you and me talking about Mississippi State is 177, which I'm not surprised because it's you and me talking about Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Vinny and I have one at 427 and 422, respectively. I have one from it was a clip from Beast of the East. It was like my 3rd ever TikTok, got 1,400 views. That was pretty good.
Have y'all seen my 1-minute sportscast on TikTok?
I
on
did.
Twitter?
I like that. I'm going to steal that idea.
I'm gonna check that out.
I've got I did 6 TikToks today, 4 Twitters posts, 4 Facebook, 4 Instagram, 2 YouTube, and then this show. So I had a busy day.
Wow.
Hey, are you gonna start putting in some of the quips that were in the Yahoo Sports Minute and the Rivals Minute? Like you're gonna start writing your scripts like that, where you just have these like witty banter?
Yeah, I do not write scripts. Scripts take up time.
I mean, you're already doing the hi locked on Ole Miss fans.
Locked in Ole Miss fans. I'm locked on Ole Miss.
Yeah. You need to do something with Yippee-ki-yay.
Mr. Falcon.
That's the reason I wore this shirt today on my show. Because Matt Corral, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, I planned on talking about the top questions going into fall camp, but somebody had to have regrets.
You need to make a shirt that says "No regrets," like the commercial.
Yeah, so we talked about that.
No regrets.
And then we are the Millers. You know that was
not even one little letter.
Yeah,
Ray Gertz or whatever.
Yeah, Ray Gertz.
One of my favorite Snickers commercials is the dude. It's an old one. It's a Super Bowl commercial. Dude's painting the end zone. He's like working so hard. And the guy goes, "Hey, man, that looks great. But who are the chefs?" Great.
Yeah.
Googly moogly.
Yes.
I love that commercial.
Yeah, that was a great one.
The Snickers one with Betty White was pretty funny too.
That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Snickers has some good ones.
Rip. Mm-hmm. Doritos has some good commercials too.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Bud Light. They do some good ones.
Yeah. One of the funniest Doritos one is whenever that little kid gives that guy, puts him in a time machine and he spins him around and there's an old dude there. And he's like, "Jamie, you're old."
And the old guy gets mad at him.
Yeah.
You're so old.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
So, Steve's like hard at work over there. He's like planning his next TikTok. He's writing his script here. He's going like, "Great googly moogly."
All I do is work.
Yippee-ki-yay, Ole Miss fans. Welcome to the 1-minute sportscast.
Did you sleep in the studio?
Yeah, I sleep down the hall from my studio.
So technically, yes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh man, I feel like he's in a musty. Like the feel of his wall back there is a musty basement.
Yeah.
This is the basement below the Palatial Central Florida Studios.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's trying to get that JUCO feel where it's like you have the cold wall.
That is an actual David Cutcliffe offensive playbook from 2000.
I know. The one time I came over to your house, I read it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The first ever Around the SEC episode.
Yeah.
First ever. It was the day Auburn played Missouri in the SEC championship.
Okay. Huh. That's been a long time ago.
Trey Mason.
Trey Mason. He's an honorable mention, but yes. Trey Mason.
Yes. Yeah. He is always doing something when y'all talk. Yep.
He's a multitasker.
Yep.
I'm producing. What I'm doing
Yeah.
right now is making, since we're about to be done, I'm refreshing everything so it'll be saved to the thing and not skip around for people for Corey whenever he does the actual
The clips.
the clips
Yep.
and all that.
Yeah.
You got to
So,
get Becky in on producing.
well, here's what I'm going to
Yep.
do for the top 5 list, unless you do
Becky
it
went to
before
bed.
me.
Go ahead.
Steve,
Yeah.
are you going to do the top 5 list?
Planning on it. Yeah.
I've already got the graphic made up. If you want to use that, the one that I sent out.
Yeah. If you want to share it to me, I'll figure out how to post it,
Awesome.
retweet it. What do they call it on TikTok?
Post it.
Yeah.
Retalk
I shared it with you guys on Twitter DM. So if you want to, if you can pull it from there, I don't know if it's the same resolution, but
Is Jeb in that DM now?
Twitter.
Yeah. I put Jeb in there.
That's right. He's finally in there.
Jeb's like, "How do you do this Twitter thing?"
Still hasn't added me as a friend, but whatever.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
You didn't
I
show up
didn't
in
know
his.
it existed.
You didn't show up in his
Yeah.
Georgia All Whites Google search, Jake.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun, huh? It does make
we
it
had-
less appealing.
Yeah, we gotta build this up and get other people into the show and find out what's going on. But we've gotten rid of our bot problem, so we're
The West is, I call out. I say, if you have a podcast that you talk about either Auburn, Mississippi State, something,
yeah. Look at you working, getting everything
Hey.
done.
Nice.
Now, why don't you get some ad revenue for this show?
I'm working on that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all need to do on that.
Steve and I, we're getting all the TikTok views.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
We're getting plenty of them.
I've got like 50 TikTok videos. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to name it and everything and do the different TikTok stuff to go with like my normal interviews and my clips and my top
Yeah, I got-
fives. Tomorrow is the top 5 offensive tackles in Ole Miss history.
Nice.
You're really digging deep there.
Well, I'm just going position by position. So, done wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks.
Top 5 centers.
So next
Name-
week,
The first 5 you can name.
Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is to basically be Ole Miss's big game boomer.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Yeah.
So next week we're going to do wide receivers, top 5 wide receivers. That's the history here.
How about
Yes.
top 5 SEC After Dark podcast?
Oh.
Yeah.
We're number 1.
Well, yeah.
And
SEC
2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
The top 5 wide receivers in the SEC would be a crazy list.
Yeah, that'd
It
be
would
tough. There's been so
It
many.
would be.
Hmm.
I mean, Alabama had 3 on their roster at one time.
You could have the entire top 10 just with 2 clubs.
Yeah, but
Right,
remember, one per school.
Right. Exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would leave a lot of good players out.
It'd be tough.
What would you do at Tennessee? Is that Peerless Price?
That's my favorite, but I don't know if he'd be top 10. We'd have to look. I mean, some of them were really good, like
Alvin
Cordell Patterson. And
Harper,
some of them
Willie
just-
Galt. Man,
I mean, yeah. It'd be tough.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and
That'd
there's
be
some
it.
that were great in college that weren't really good in the pros. I don't know how you weigh that, but
Alshon, wait.
I mean, that would be a
Too soon.
daggum
Outside
2-hour
video.
show there just talking
I mean,
about that
Jawan
video.
Jennings.
yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, Juwan, that actually might be my favorite.
Yeah.
That guy was just a monster
Yeah.
Yep.
without having all the measurables.
But I'm thinking
He
about
did it.
LSU
He did.
players like Wendell Davis versus Josh Reed.
Josh Reed versus Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Versus
and then
Justin
Jamar
Jefferson.
Chase and then Devery Henderson.
Devery
Jarvis
Henderson.
Landry, Odell
Yeah,
Beckham.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some
Odell Beckham.
eras involved with LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
almost do that by.
Yeah,
I
we're,
mean,
we're gonna
early Doucette.
we might have to do that show at more than 30 minutes.
Early
Yeah.
Doucette has got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early
Al-
Alabama,
Good list.
you
Alabama
got
got
Julio.
Julio. You got Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jerry
Jalen Waddle, Jerry
Jalen
Judy,
Waddle. I mean, like, the list goes on.
the Ridley brothers.
Yeah, I was gonna say both
Mhm.
Ridleys. You're right.
Yep.
Even if
No,
Mahomes lost his mind now.
no, it'd be Calvin
AJ.
Ridley, Amari Cooper,
Amari Cooper's on there.
AJ Green.
Oh,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgia.
Georgia's got Hines Ward.
Hines Ward for Georgia. I mean,
Hines Ward, AJ Green.
Good God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a 2-hour
Think
show.
about Florida under Spurrier.
Oh my God.
Ike Hilliard, Riedel Anthony, Chris Doran,
Jaquez Green.
Jaquez
Green.
Green.
Later, Percy Harvin. Yeah.
Percy Harvin. I mean,
Aaron Hernandez.
that's tight end.
Hey,
That's tight
we can
end.
take care of A&M because A&M will actually have somebody that have a chance to be on the list because Mike Evans is going to be involved.
What about Ryan Tannehill?
Right.
He played receiver.
Well,
Nice.
yeah.
He also
Yeah,
played
did they-
quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Right.
that. What about Johnny Manziel? Didn't he throw the ball to
Ooh.
himself occasionally?
Jeremy Macklin.
Ooh.
Yeah. Missouri might have a chance here.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
Who's the
Some
dude that
dude.
Dorial Green Beckham? Remember him,
Yeah.
Steve?
yeah, I remember him.
Dude,
Who's the guy at Vandy that was so good under James Franklin?
Jordan
wide
Matthews.
receiver. Jordan Matthews.
No, Jordan Matthews.
Played,
Yeah.
played for
Jordan
like
Matthews,
eight years for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arkansas,
You think-
Marcus Monk.
I mean,
Yeah. Arkansas had a lot of receivers.
Traylon Burks.
Yeah,
Burks.
Traylon
Well, I
Burks,
hope. Yeah.
but you think about this. We're having trouble. We're naming all these guys out, but trying to get 5
yeah.
Yeah.
out of all
The-
that. It's
The only things for sure is we're going to have to go back 15 years at least to get Auburn because they don't
Yeah.
do receivers and they haven't for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Ben Obamanu.
Maybe. I mean,
Courtney Taylor.
Yeah.
Courtney Taylor, yeah.
Yeah.
Devin Aromashadu.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
David Aromashadu and Ben Obamanu on the same team.
Yeah.
Are we talking about production or like Scrabble?
Oh,
All
Mississippi
Scrabble
State, Eric Molds.
Eric Moulds, yep.
Definitely
He was a
Eric
good one.
Molds. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Eric Molds. I'm trying to think of who else for Auburn. Auburn, I feel like who was
Kentucky, Craig East. Derek Abney.
yeah. Who's the main receiver for their 14 or 13 national championship run?
And the one that caught the prayer at Jordan Hare.
Yeah. Was
That
he their
number
number one
5?
guy?
Seth Williams.
Is that Ricardo Davis?
Yeah, Ricardo
Carter
Davis.
Davis. Yeah. But Seth
Yeah.
Williams.
Seth
Yeah.
Williams probably got to be their number one.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel for South Carolina.
No,
Or is it-
Alshon all day.
Alshon.
Mm.
You couldn't stop
Um,
Debo.
And Maury Blake for
Yeah,
Auburn.
Debo.
I mean, Debo was good, but I don't think Debo had Connor Shaw.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who was throwing the ball. You couldn't stop Debo.
Debo Samuel.
Could not stop Debo at all.
Yeah.
This is a tough list.
It is. It's gonna
Yeah.
be bad. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. But anyway, get us out of here tonight. We'll
Yeah.
do this list next week.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So we kind of brainstormed for last week, but yeah. Again, we're going to be on our school schedule next week. I have confirmed that, so I shouldn't be late anymore unless we have some sort of special circumstance. But I should be on time next week. I got a note from my teacher today. Please excuse my tardy. But we are SEC After Dark. Look for us on TikTok at Locked On Ole Miss, at Bleav In Dawgs. Look for me on all social media platforms at Bleav In Dawgs. Look for me on Instagram at Coach Corey Burton, Twitter at Coach Burton36, at UTK Joe, known as Stolen Grin on Twitter for Jeb, at Jake Thomas TTS, which is kind of an old handle, but he's at Tide Talk Live. There you can find him on Best of the West as well. Him and Stacey Blackwood. Stephen Willis at the Stephen Willis is a great follow. I don't know if you're on the gram yet, but
I am. LO Ole Miss.
Hello.
LO
On Ole
Ole
Miss.
Miss.
Okay.
For like
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
LO Ole Miss.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
So you can find us all over. You can find us all over social media. Steve's Walkaboots and his 1 Minute Sportscast. Please check those out. I'm going to start doing some similar stuff for UGA. Probably some post game wrap up minutes for UGA once those get started. Some fall camp nuggets. I got to think of a catchy title for that kind of stuff. But we will give us a follow. Give us some feedback. Follow us on the audio version on Beast of the East podcast form. It's kind of like a dual show hosting thing, just a way to get SEC After Dark on the podcast waves. But Y'all's Conference Network on YouTube, at Bleav In Dawgs on YouTube, at Tide Talk Live on YouTube. Follow those channels as well. Jake's almost at 1,000. I'm just a few shy of 1,000. Really, I'm just a few shy of 100 too. So I gotta get to 100 first. So get me to 100, then to 200, and then we can work on 1,000. So
we'll get you.
We are SEC After Dark for Jeb Beechum, Jake Thomas, and Stephen Willis. I am Corey Burton. So long. See you later. Have a great rest of your week, an even better weekend. And if you are a teacher and you have started school, God bless you. We start next week here in Nashville. So we'll see you back here. Same time, same channel next week. Back better than ever, talking about wide receivers. Go Dogs. Goodbye.
Hotty toddy.
Roll Tide.
And go Vols.
You better follow me back, Jeff.
Jeff,
I did. I found it.
Too much bass in your voice.